Welcome to PatsCast. I'm Brad Whitaker. Are the New England Patriots back? It's the question on everyone's mind coming off their surprise victory over the Buffalo Bills last Sunday as 8.5-point underdogs. Pats jumped out to an early lead, dominated for most of the game except for a 5-minute period in the fourth quarter where they descended back into football degeneracy and blew a 12-point lead. But that was overcome in the final seconds where Mac Jones, Ramondre Stevenson and company drove down the field and won it with a touchdown pass to Mike Gesicki. Despite that 5-minute period of penalties, turnovers, near turnovers, and defensive breakdowns, we saw vintage Patriots football last Sunday, and it raises the question, can this 2-5 football team actually make a run? Now, we did see something on Sunday that Patriots fans are not used to, at least on the offensive side of the football, and that was speed. That was evident with Demario Pop Douglas, who finally played a greater share of snaps and was able to get open in the middle of the field like so many Patriots greats in Julian Edelman, Wes Welker, and Troy Brown. Pop, along with Kendrick Bourne and, dare I say, Tyquan Thornton, who only played 3 snaps, might actually be the key to modernizing this Patriots offense. Those guys have speed, a very foreign concept to the Patriots in recent years. Devontae Parker, only 1 catch the entire game. It looks like he's being worked out of the offense. Juju Smith-Schuster out with injury, but clearly isn't helping much in that category. That's a lot of money wasted, but you have to play your best players. Then you have Hunter Henry, who I consider to be a top 10 tight end, and Mike Gesicki, who only needs to come up big in spots, particularly the red zone, which he certainly did on Sunday. And while bringing in a primary receiver should still be a top priority for the Patriots next offseason, or even before the Halloween trade deadline, I'm looking at you, DeAndre Hopkins, it is very possible they have their top guy of the future in Demario Douglas, who may go down as the late steal of the 2023 NFL Draft. But the Patriots' newfound offensive identity on Sunday wouldn't be possible if it weren't for a well-drawn-out game plan from offensive coordinator Bill O'Brien, who finally proved he can level up the offense from the days of Matt Patricia. Not a very high bar there. He opened up the run game early, making life easier for Mac Jones, and easing the third-year quarterback into the game with short throws to build up the kid's confidence. That ultimately paid off down the stretch when Mac made multiple tight window throws, facing pressure to win the game. But none of that was possible without a move that, in hindsight, should have been very obvious. Moving right guard Michael Onwenu over to the right tackle position. Yes, it certainly helped. The Pats' O-line was healthy for the first time this season, but Vidarian Lowe was not getting it done at the right tackle spot. A single sandbag would have likely been more effective in slowing down Max Crosby the week before against the Raiders. But the lineup of Trent Brown at left tackle, who had his best game of the season, Cole Strange at left guard, who had the best game of his career, David Andrews, the one constant at center, Sidy Sow, the rookie at right guard, and now Michael Onwenu at right tackle. If healthy, that is an elite offensive line. Sidy Sow is probably the weakest of the 5, and he's a rookie, so you know he'll get better. And frankly, you can afford to plug different players in at right guard when the other 4 spots are playing effectively. Now, I do have a theory why it took so long for Bill Belichick to play Michael Onwenu at right tackle. He's in a contract year as one of the league's young, up-and-coming offensive linemen. If he gets moved to tackle and plays the position well, suddenly he goes from a 9-figure salary player to a 10-figure salary player. Great guards are much easier to find than great tackles. If he shows to be competent at that position for the remainder of the season, Onwenu will rightly demand big money when he hits the offseason. Either way, we are finally seeing the protection Mac Jones needs to be an effective quarterback. Yes, Mac still needs more weapons, but football teams need to be built from the inside out. It's no coincidence the 6 worst weeks of offensive line play in 2 decades led to the 6th worst game of Patriots football in that time span. Tom Brady never faced anything like what Mac Jones faced during that 1-5 stretch, and he would have raised holy hell had that happened, and nobody would have blamed him. Pocket passing quarterbacks need time to throw in the pocket. Hell, mobile quarterbacks need time to throw in the pocket. Jalen Hurts became an MVP caliber quarterback with an elite offensive line. As hard as fans have been on Mac Jones, and he certainly made his fair share of mistakes, he didn't deserve this. maybe we'll actually get to see what he's capable of now that the O-line is looking better. Now, another story that broke this last week before Sunday's victory over the Bills, we received some breaking news courtesy of Ian Rappaport that Bill Belichick apparently signed a lucrative multi-year contract prior to the season, aka, I'm not going anywhere despite the rumors. Now, in my opinion, this is a story that sounds like it means more than it actually does. Lucrative contract, he's Bill Belichick, the greatest coach of all time, who's also a GM. Of course he's going to get a lucrative contract. Multi-year, that's just a fancy way of saying more than one. So it's very likely Belichick's contract simply runs through 2024. I don't know if that's true or not. Only Belichick, Robert, and Jonathan Kraft know those details. But if the Krafts wanted to fire him this coming offseason, there's no reason to think eating some of that salary isn't on the table. So who may have leaked this? I see a couple of scenarios. The first is Bill Belichick. With all the media buzz that Belichick should be fired because of his team's performance, particularly with Jeff Howe's report that the Krafts would have no problem doing so if it's warranted, this could be a way to shut things up a little. Let the fans know you are there for the long term using vague language like lucrative, multi-year contract, which could just mean 2 years for a lot of money. It also lets the locker room know, hey, you guys need to buy in because I'm still the sheriff around here and I intend to be for the foreseeable future. The team certainly responded on Sunday if that was the case. Now, the second scenario is Robert Kraft. Maybe he wants to quiet the fire Bill talk, not only to ease some of the public relations hits his team is taking from starting the season 1-5, but also to protect his head coach. Relationships are important to Kraft, and why would he want to fracture that with the greatest coach of all time, one that's put so much money in his own pocket? Now, this doesn't mean he won't consider firing or demoting Bill come the offseason, but let the season play out first. A lot of crazy things can happen in the NFL. The Detroit Lions got off to a rough start last season and nearly made the playoffs. Now they look to be actually one of the better teams in the NFC. Patriots have a very easy schedule after Sunday's Miami game. A lot could happen if this team is able to build on their victory against Buffalo. So looking ahead to Miami, Trent Brown, he's been a limited participant in practice, which is a good sign. He'll be out there on Sunday. If the Patriots have that same O-line as they did against Buffalo, it gives them a shot. Not saying they're going to win the game. Miami was a tough place to play even when they were bad. They are a much better team, too, at home when the offense can communicate effectively. That said, Tyreek Hill missed Wednesday's practice, so that's something to watch. If the Dolphins are without their best weapon, it becomes a great equalizer, especially with some of the Patriots' defensive backs getting healthy. As of right now, the Patriots are 9-point underdogs, very close to where they were at facing Buffalo. They came up just a touchdown short against the Dolphins in Week 2 after multiple turnovers and falling into an early hole. The key to winning this game for the Patriots is getting out to an early lead like they did against the Bills. Even if it's 3-0, an early field goal, keep the game close, let Mac run the offensive game plan throughout, and you got a real shot. Okay, that's it for this week's PatsCast. I'll see you on Sunday with reaction to the Miami game.